So there's other things behind the scenes that I'm sure we don't know about, but let's not make it about conditioning, because that's not, you don't get to where he's at being a first team All-NBA player 5 years in a row at the age of 25 by not being in shape.
Like, seriously, just forget that idea that the Mavs traded Doncic because he was fat or injury prone. That's just not it. But here's an idea no one has considered. What if AD actually helps the Mavs make a deep playoff run, or even win the championship? Well, that ruins a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding this trade. But is there one theory that will survive the unlikely event that the Mavs perform beyond expectations? You see, one thing is clear about this trade. It was a decision by the billionaires. So it's not really about basketball, it's about the bottom line. And today, we're exposing the Luka Doncic trade controversy by looking at one theory that would generate lots of dollars regardless of what happens on the court. We've all seen how the city of Dallas reacted to losing Doncic, but a lot of people are ignoring the fact that the Mavs lost their first game after the trade by a whopping 43 points. You see, it's not just the fans grieving, it's the whole team. Team morale is at an all-time low, and lots of people can't wait to see Doncic destroy the Mavs when they meet. And yes, that's something to look forward to. Just ask the Atlanta Hawks, who traded him for Trae Young. He torched them for 73 points. But besides all that, the team is really broken. During the press conference when Nico Harrison was explaining why the trade happened, Coach Kidd looked lost, or maybe he was thinking about this.
Jay Kidd didn't know about it. But Jay Kidd and I are aligned, and we talk about archetypes.
I say all this to explain that his reaction was expected, and that's why the trade had to be done in the shadows. I mean, there's no way the Mavericks front office could have announced to the public that their 25-year-old superstar, who was happy to stay, would be traded. So the only way for this to happen was in the shadows. And what was the point of it all from a business standpoint? Here's Rob Pelinka with the whole point of the trade.
Luka Doncic joining forces with the Los Angeles Lakers is a seismic event in NBA history. And the reason I say that is because we have a 25-year-old global superstar.
You see, the NBA is a business that used to be American, but now the NBA is a global business, and they needed their superstars to reflect that. You see, the Mavs having probably the youngest and biggest superstar in the league was a problem, and Doncic wanting to spend his entire career in Dallas was also a problem. It's no news that major NBA teams making deep playoff runs help generate loads of ratings and thus dollars. So pretty much like YouTube, the league has an unofficial job of helping the big teams. And sometimes, like in this case, they can also hurt the small market teams. The Mavs look like the victims here, but that's just the fans. They lost 1 million IG followers in one night, and season ticket holders are demanding refunds already and getting it. But there's a reason the Mavericks owners agreed to this. Here's the fact. This trade just makes no sense when you're thinking in terms of the game of basketball. We, the fans, just want to watch the beautiful game. Superstars like Luka just want to play and win, but the owners, the billionaires, it's all about the bottom line. From what we know so far, Nico Harrison, the Mavs GM, kickstarted this move. He went straight to his buddy Rob Pelinka, the Lakers GM, to cook this up in secret for a whole month. No leaks, no whispers, just two old bros making a seismic deal over a cup of coffee. This deal was so secret that even the Jazz, who were involved in the trade, didn't even know Luka was part of it until the last minute. Why so secretive? Did the Mavs GM really hate Luka Doncic like Brian Windy said? Was that why they didn't even give him the courtesy of a heads up?
Everybody was surprised, so you can imagine how surprised I was.
Many people came up with conspiracies that Harrison had been salty about Luka for years, especially since he was tight with Kobe back in the day. But how can he hate Doncic so much when both of them work for Nike? Besides, he said this just 2 weeks before the trade happened.
How much is Luka Doncic worth?
I don't know that you can put a price tag on it. Honestly, the value that he brings to the franchise, to the NBA, to this organization, it's immeasurable. His marketability, like people from all over the world come to watch him play because of what he means to the NBA and the basketball. It's an honor because I feel like we're going to be champions, and it will be because of Luka.
So is he just flat out lying, or was it all deliberate to enhance the shock effect? All feelings aside, what has been the result of the shocking trade? Well, according to Basketball Forever on IG, the Luka Doncic trade could spike TV ratings by 50% locally and 20% internationally. Now, that would reverse the NBA's current 25% ratings dip for the 2024-2025 season. But this wasn't just about moving pieces on a chessboard. It was about changing the whole game. You see, the NBA is not only going global, it's also bringing the Vegas vibe into it. As for the Mavs, Nico has been tasked with selling the defensive excuse to the NBA world. During the press conference after the trade, Nico Harrison was out here preaching defense wins championships like it was the only mantra he knew. But hold up, the Mavs had already beefed up their defense, jumping from 22nd to 7th in the league with earlier moves. In fact, before Doncic's injury, he had actually registered more deflections than AD. Luka was tied for 13th in steals with Jalen Suggs. Plus, when he was playing, the Mavs held opponents to 109.3 points per 100 possessions. When he's not playing, the Mavs defense allowed 112.6 points per 100 possessions. To make matters worse, this season, his defensive estimated plus-minus ranked in the 83rd percentile, which is a career high. So, Luka at 25 was only going to get better both offensively and defensively. As for the finals loss to the Celtics, that wasn't about defense. It was about Boston being straight up better. I say all that to say the defensive issue was just cooked up by Harrison to try to fool the fans. There's nothing about the trade that has anything to do with actual basketball. Every excuse you hear is just that, an excuse. So what's the point of this trade from the NBA's perspective? It's a push for global acceptance. In fact, you can blame this trade on American audiences who stopped watching the NBA, hence the drop in ratings. The drop in American viewership was followed by a huge boost in global viewership, especially from China. It signaled to the NBA's billionaires that there's a whole market out there for them to cater to. In the end, this trade might go down as one of the most confusing moves in NBA history, but that's only because you are trying to see how it helps a team win championships. And if you continue down that road, this trade will never make sense. Apparently, some people have gone so far down that road that they're now sending Nico Harrison death threats. Could that be why he missed the introductory press conference for Anthony Davis? Regardless, people need to put more spotlight on the Mavs owners because those are the real actors in this trade. Former owner Mark Cuban was all about Luka. He once said he'd choose Luka over his wife. That's how committed he was. But Cuban sold the team and everything changed. But even before he sold the team, he and the new owners, the Adelson family, had been pushing for Texas to legalize gambling. You see, the Adelson family have deep pockets in the gambling world through Las Vegas Sands Corporation. Their priorities? They weren't about basketball. They were about money and influence. These people have been trying to legalize gambling in Texas for years, pouring cash into lobbying and donations. But Texas has been a tough nut to crack. So what would you do if you knew that basketball was going global and with it was a whole new market of potential gamblers? Would you offer your young superstar his Supermax deal and continue to play it cool? Or would you trade him to LA where he's bigger and thus basketball becomes bigger? Then, when the time is right, you can move your franchise to Vegas if Texas refuses to play ball. You see, if Texas doesn't legalize gambling, the Adelsons could threaten to pack up and move the Mavs to Vegas. Fans disengage, attendance drops, and boom, the NBA might just greenlight the move. Some people are wondering if Mark Cuban would let this happen if he still owned the majority of the Mavs. Well, here's your answer.
Why did you sell it?
To compete now with the new collective bargaining agreement, you see all these teams building real estate and casinos and all these big real estate empires. And I'm like, that's not me.
He knew what was happening and he sold. With the Adelson family at the helm, it's all about the Benjamins. They might see the Mavs not as a basketball team, but as a bargaining chip. But it's a risky gamble. The Mavs fan base is now shattered, and the team's future looks bleak without Luka. If this was all for the sake of gambling legalization, it might be the most expensive and controversial leverage play in NBA history. But then every gambler knows this: the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. In the end, whether this trade was about basketball, business, or blackmail, one thing's clear: the Mavs' direction has changed, and it might not be for the better. The fact is that this situation is so bizarre, a conspiracy theory is the only logical explanation. But what do you think? You think it's all about making gambling legal for the Mavs? Do you think Nico Harrison really initiated this trade? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, watch our breakdown of the reactions of NBA legends to the Luka Doncic trade.